They buried me in the water and I came, I knew. Ha ha. Now I'm baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
Welcome to the Changing the Culture podcast with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. This is the only self-help podcast hosted by a female cop. I want to welcome you. If you loved that intro, then I want you to go to the end of my podcast and make sure you listen to that music, that tune. It's called Baptized in Blue by One Time Music. He's a fellow police officer. You can find him anywhere you can listen to music. He's amazing. I'm really excited to have you here. I hope that you enjoy this podcast episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. What is up, Sheepdog Nation? I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to another podcast episode, Changing the Culture podcast with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. So listen up. Here's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about communication. Talk about relationships. We're going to talk about things that, shit that really needs to be talked about that isn't really talked about by our people and in our culture. As first responders, we're supposed to be Batman, Superman, right? And type A people, which we naturally are, but people who don't really have a lot of problems or who can solve all problems, especially societies and all these things. And, I have to tell you something, there's been a lot of shit that's been weighing on my mind, have a lot of things that I want to say, but I'm going to focus today just on this. I'm married. I've been with my police officer, state trooper husband for 8 years now. I've been a law enforcement officer since I've been 20 years old. And I have taken a lot of clients who are spouses or they are the police officers or first responder in various capacities. I have several friends. A lot of people come to me. I'm that person. Always have been, to be honest with you. Always been that person that everybody comes to. But a lot of people come to me about their relationship stuff. And, there was an incident that happened recently between me and some people who it really kind of just showed me my growth and something that I do not take for granted. And that is communication. So I want to talk about it. And before you go and go, fuck this communication, I'm done, I'm not listening to her anymore. Pay attention, because this is really going to help you. This is going to help you be a better spouse. It's also going to help you be better on the road. Doesn't matter what capacity you are in. It's also going to help you be a far better leader, be a better friend. It's going to help you in all areas of your life. I've noticed that the number one biggest problem that I have seen in our society that causes the most issues is the fact that we are when we miscommunicate. When one person means or says something and they mean it a certain way and it's somebody else or a group of other people or whatever take it completely different. And text messaging, emailing, social media, that's not helping, right? Because we can't hear that person. The age-old analogy that I'll use, and this is one that, because it bothers me today. There's two of them. In text messaging area, right? When somebody says, yeah, Y-E-A-H or Y-E-A, you don't take that as sarcastic, do you? Or it's fine. But if somebody goes Y-A, like, yeah, don't you take that offensively? I do. I take it offensively. The person typing it may not mean it to mean anything other than yeah. But they're just saying, yeah. Or how about the case of the okay or the K? Now, we all know when you start getting into a conflict with your significant other and she goes and writes K, we know she's pissed, right? Some people aren't. I know, I've had this conversation with my mother. Sometimes she'll put K, but she doesn't mean K, snide. She just meant K, see you later, love you. But it can be taken and interpreted differently, especially because we're not hearing it, right? But the thing is that's happening a lot in our relationships as well. And I'm seeing a lot of that specifically in first responder relationships. We don't think, as first responders, we don't really think about how what's going on in the world impacts us. I think as people, we don't really think that too, especially, but I can speak to first responders. We're out there. I never watch the news. Till this day, I don't. Especially I stopped when I became a police officer, because I felt like I'm making the news. I'm literally out there every day making news, like shit that the news will want to cover. And I have no time to come and watch what all my other, counterparts are doing across the state or the world, as far as, police officers and first responders everywhere. Like I know what you guys are up to. I'm very proud of every single one of you. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch the news. Way too much negativity. I think since the pandemic, his 10x, the negativity you cannot turn on any kind of news. You can't look at the newspaper, read magazines without going into a downward spiral. And I will have to say that if you're not very careful with your social media, it's the same thing. And I've noticed it myself over and over and over again. But we are naive to think that is not affecting us in every aspect of our lives. And I'm encouraging you to take a stand back for a moment and take a look at what's going on in your life. Stress. Okay. So stress is huge. You know this. I know this. I don't know how much you know about stress. I plan on having a doctor who is an expert in stress come on this podcast at some point. Fingers crossed. And he can talk to us about it. But I'm learning so much about stress and what it does and how it really causes all of our issues and all of our ailments and all of our illnesses, and how it really impacts our immunity. And so our immune system, and how, healthy we are, and how much juice we have to fight off, colds and sicknesses and stuff. And so stress is huge, but stress also impedes our relationships. Okay. And it impedes on our ability to want to communicate, because I know, and after a long day, the last thing you feel like doing is just sitting down with somebody, remaining calm, hearing about their feelings, and then expressing yours. That is not what you want to do. And I know that. But the deal is sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do. And if you want to maintain a healthy relationship, you've got to find a vibe here. You've got to be able to communicate. I've seen a lot of police officers, specifically a lot of firefighters, EMTs, military personnel, correctional officers, probation officers. These are all people who I work with directly every single day. And they're having a very difficult time in relationships. I've seen a lot of police officers and first responders. I've seen a lot of divorces. A lot of people are splitting right now. And I'm not saying that the relationship was great and then all of a sudden, like this year, the pandemic split it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think that the pandemic, with the quarantine, financial strains, everything that's going on in the world, what the environment is like for first responders. I think what's going on is, I think that's just, it's a straw that broke the camel's back. It's just everything combined. Plus we're not communicating. We're not getting on the same page. Just want to remind you, you got with your significant other because they were your best friend. And if that's not why you got with your significant other, then you best be making sure that you are making that relationship like you guys are best friends. And if you aren't, then you're going to have issues. But in your relationships, it's very important that we are communicating and that you actually put that to the forefront. It is incredibly difficult to know what somebody else wants when they don't express it to you. And that's what happens. In relationships, it becomes a fucking guessing game. For a while, because everybody knows what to do, in the fairy tale stage, right? When we are fairy tailing and we're in love, and it's it's easy, and you open the door and then you go on dates and you pay or whatever, you know what I mean? It's fun and it's flirty and you have a great time, and everybody knows what to do during that. But a lot of people are forgetting what to do when it comes to your actual long-term relationship. And it's because everything else gets put to the forefront. Look, it's crazy times out there, and it's hard. Life is not easy right now. And you can sit there and You can shit on me all you want, but I do know that life is not easy right now for a lot of people. And I understand that life was never meant to be easy. I don't think for people like us who are out there, warriors, putting in the work to protect society and be the ones, who are out there doing the thing. I don't think that life was ever meant to be super easy. I think that we go through life and we have obstacles and ups and downs, and we are doing that to become better. I really believe life is, our world is conspiring for us, actually. But we have, we slip and fall in a pothole, do these things. And, or as Matthew McConaughey would say, is we come to a red light. And so, but we have to figure it out. Like, what way do we turn? What are we going to do? And I know that's what's going on. And I just want to reiterate, like, communication is extremely hard. And so, it's one of those things that we put to the side. It's something that we don't value as much. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so what the hell is communication? Okay. And, communication is when you can articulate your point, and the other person can actually understand your point that you're getting across. Like, they get it. Nothing is left up for interpretation. Also, effective communication is when you can do that and you are not yelling, you are not raising your voice, you're not being snarky, you're not freaking out, you're not calling names, you are actually just having a conversation. And this is something that it took me years to learn. I grew up in a very Italian family. My entire they're pretty volatile. I mean, and they don't, sometimes they definitely mean something by it for sure, but other times they don't. It's just who, my family is. It's just who they are. And they don't give a shit, trust me. And so communication within my family can be difficult. And it always has been. And that's not my immediate family, because my mom and my dad and we communicate quite well. But like the whole family on both sides. And there was a situation recently where there was feelings got hurt because people were not properly communicating. And once people properly communicated, the hurt feelings got alleviated, because what it appeared to be wasn't actually what it was. And I bet you can relate to that. And the reason why that is just so important is because there's so many times in your life that that's going on. And, we either write people off because we're like, well, screw them, right? Because they are mean to me, or they piss me off, or this and that, or we're freaking out on them. I mean, you're seeing these Facebook wars and social media wars, and like, we're seeing a lot of fights. We're seeing a lot of domestics, especially because everybody gets quarantined and everyone's home. And all of this it's just basic miscommunication. I know experience with my husband, like when him and we fight and argue when we're miscommunicating. And it's like, we have to take a few minutes, and like our emotions, like we really need to settle. And I am the queen of becoming overly emotional. And like, I just have to go take a few minutes. I'm like, okay, I can't, because I can't think. You have to understand, like, when you become overly emotional, like, you cannot think. You can't accept or interpret like what the hell the other person's trying to say, because you're just so wrapped up in your feelings and your emotions and how you feel. And so you're like offended. You are 100% offended, and it doesn't matter what the other person says in that moment. So a lot of times you just got to take a deep breath, and we need to go look the other way for a few minutes. And this is significant because I just think this is going to help a lot of you with your relationships. Take a few minutes to take a step back, especially, as first responders, we have a lot on our plate. So when we come home, again, and I already said this earlier, but like, we don't want to deal with any more shit. It's like, fuck your feelings. I don't care. I've been hearing about people's feelings all day long. I do not care. But the truth is if that's really how you feel, you have your priorities mixed up, because the person's feelings who you should care about the most are your immediate families. They are the ones who have your back. They are your rocks. There's no if, and, or buts about this. Okay. That's the truth. That's the harsh truth. And as a first responder, we take our families for granted. And I'm telling you, I'm seeing this end a lot of police and first responders relationships quickly. It's because we're taking our significant others for granted, and we're not communicating with them. And you know what we're doing? We're communicating with our partners, our dispatchers. We are communicating with different people that we work with, different agencies, people we went to the academy with, because we think they'll get it, but our spouses don't. But if we don't teach our spouses how to get it, then how in the fuck are they ever going to get it? So that's all on you. So if you are one of these people running around on your spouse because your spouse just simply doesn't get it, or they don't, you try to talk to them, but they don't listen, I'm telling you right now, you really need to take some responsibility for this. Now, if you are with somebody who just absolutely will not listen to anything that you say, will not sit down with you, will not try to understand you, is not a friend to you, is not supportive of the job, okay, well then I don't know what the hell you're doing in that marriage. Okay, you may need to get out. But if this person is like actively very much supports what you do, wants to know, wants to be in the know, is trying, maybe gets frustrated because it feels like they feel like you are pulling away from them, you are not close to them, you are all of these things, and you are not confiding in them, but you're confiding in somebody else, that's a problem. That is a problem. And that problem is you are the problem. So we communicate. We need to remember that when we become emotional, or if there's things like we start getting really triggered, and here's the thing, okay? I'm going to explain this to you. I think it's important. It's not something super, prevalent, but we're going to talk about it. How do you know when you start getting like way over the top emotional? Like when every ounce of you is like your stomach is on fire. You are mad. Your face is beet red. Maybe you start shaking. You can't think straight. All you do is you feel like you're backed into a corner. I'm telling you, that's when you need to get the fuck out of the house, go down to the basement, go out to the garage, go take a walk, go take a ride, do something. Calmly tell your spouse, listen, I have no patience. It's not you. I just have a lot going on. I need a few minutes. Just give me a few minutes, please. And then take the few minutes and go do your thing, even if it's a half an hour, even if it's an hour. When you can come back to the table and have a conversation the way that I'm talking to you, that is when you're going to solve problems. And you need to stop being afraid of hurting the other person's feelings. And this goes for every person listening to this podcast. Adam and I, we stopped being afraid of hurting each other's feelings a long time ago. And it was really liberating. I never was really like afraid to hurt anybody's feelings. That's not how I live. But he, very sensitive to how I felt. He obviously probably didn't want to deal with me going off. And, he would sometimes not tell me things or how he was feeling. And what would happen is it would pile up and pile up and pile up. And so what happens? So then a little thing like me raising my voice about something else that doesn't even have to do with him may trigger him. And then now he's raising his voice at me and I'm like, oh no, you fucking didn't. Right. And now we're in an argument, which didn't even need to happen because he was actually triggered and pissed off because of something that he didn't get off his chest last week. And that's what a lot of you do too. Instead of sitting down and being like, hey, listen, it's not this big of a deal, but I need to get it off my chest. Like I really didn't like when you blank. I'm really not happy when you blank. This is really feeling not fun for me. Can we talk about this? If your spouse and your partner can't handle this kind of, communication, this is real adulting communication. If you guys can't do this together, you have some issues. I'm not a counselor. Maybe at this point is when you'd want to go see one, or you can go and listen to my friend Cindy Doyle. She's a licensed counselor down in Texas. She's got a podcast. It's called Code for Couples. And you can go and listen to that podcast. Maybe she can help you out with that further. I'm just telling you from the experience of an officer and a police wife and a life coach, I just see communication going downhill. I just see like people afraid to talk to their spouses, afraid to bring things up. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, why wouldn't you say this? Because at the end of the day, listen, it seems like everything is great if you don't start all these fights. It's not great. You are building a fucking volcano that's going to erupt inside of you. And it's not fair. It's not fair when you could literally just be putting these fires out as they come up, and you're going to be less irrational about it. You're going to be less emotional about it. You're going to be like, hey, this really pissed me off. Can we talk about it right now? Like, good, boom, done, communicate. It's over with. Move on. I learned a long time ago, another very consistent theme I see in failed relationships are people who do not let things go. And that's been something that Adam and I bring up a lot to each other. And we're very aware of that. Like, okay, well, we talked about it. We figured out a solution. Like, why haven't you let that go? And it's like, fuck. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, because I don't believe that you're going to do anything about it. I don't think you're going to change. Well, then the other person's like, well, you've got to let me change. You've got to give me a chance. And it's like, okay, yep, you're right. But there's a lot of people that just keep bringing the same shit over and over and over again, like every day, right? Like, you didn't take out the trash. Well, you didn't take out the trash. You didn't take out the trash. Oh my God, you didn't take out the trash. And you're like, well, you got to give me a chance to take out the I just don't think you're going to take it out because you haven't taken it out in like 6 weeks. And, and then you have to give that person an opportunity and you have to let it go, right? We have to let it go. And we have to understand that our spouses are human. We're all human. And so we're going to make mistakes. But the biggest thing I want you to get out of this episode, which is totally self-help 101 here, Autumn on her soapbox, really is power of communication. Communicating it's just so big, and letting all that stuff build up in you it's really bad. It's really bad, and it's gonna cause and create a lot of bad things for you. You're gonna create this hatred for somebody, and the other person's gonna feel like you just slapped them in the face. They don't deserve that. You want to just be in constant communication. And again, just remember, if you're talking to somebody like this and you're just communicating and they're going to be less apt to flip the fuck out on you. And if they are flipping out on you, then you have to understand it's all about them. They just have a lot of shit going on, and you can just like be like, hey, yo, listen up. You're freaking out. You're clearly not in a space to be able to talk. I'm going to give you some time. Let me know when you want to talk about this. And you can talk to me like this. A lot of times it makes people feel stupid when you're as calm as, a cucumber and they're freaking out. I know, I can't tell you how many times with Adam, I'm like, he'd be calm talking to me like this. And I'm like flipping right out. And he's like, yeah, you need to calm down. I'm like, you are absolutely right. But you talking to me right now is not calming me down. So I need to go. And so then we come back and like, ultimately, I'd be like, geez, like I just couldn't keep it together. I was so fucking emotional, and you keeping it together was pissing me off more. And so just know like that's going to happen. But don't be afraid to talk to your spouse about your day. And, I know a lot of first responders try to keep it separate and try to like protect their significant others from this, but you can't really protect anybody from the job. I hear what you're saying, but you just can't, because the job is actually, it's reality, it's life. And that's old school. Old school mentality is, okay, I'm just going to shove it all down. But we see how that's helping, or how that is going. It's really not going good. Today, Blue Help Ellie put out that was 156 suicides in first responders. Okay. Just this year. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So shoving it down, that's not the key. The key is to communicate. It's to communicate with your partners, is to communicate everywhere, and to be able to do it in a calm, collective manner, to not allow your emotions overrun you. And if you need to take a few minutes to breathe, do it. Sometimes you might just need to write your points down, because like, you ever and we deal with this, like you go on the street and you deal with like a domestic, it's like 2 volcanoes just erupted. That's all it is. And like, by the time like you're there, well, not if you're a city cop, but probably, if you're a road patrol, by the time you get there, like they can articulate like why they were pissed and like what happened, right? Because they've had some time, like they've had at least 15, 20 minutes for the whole thing to blow over, and they'll tell you exactly what happened, and it could have been prevented. It's just miscommunication. A lot of it's miscommunication. I really hope that you listen to this. I really hope that you can start focusing on communication in your life and your relationships. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions at all, you know where to find me, at Officer Autumn on Instagram. You can email me, autumn@autumnclifford.com. If you haven't given my podcast a iTunes rating, I would really, really appreciate that. It'd be very helpful. And I will see you next time.
They buried me in the water and I came out new. Ha ha. Now I'm baptized in blue.
I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
They buried me in the water in the Holy Ghost. I came out with a badge and gun and a heart that said never run. I signed up for a job you wouldn't dare to do. This ain't no green screen movie, don't compare the two. We look at your actions in the elements and everything relevant. If they line up, prepare to pay the consequence. You do dirt, you get cussed, no bluff. It's ignorant to think we will shoot with your hands up if you the police. You feel the world is against you, like every call you go to, people trying to tempt you. Well, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I ride on the devil, I ain't scary and I ain't worried. You want my life, come take it, it's gonna be a fight. I take you to the light, like Will and Bright. I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
I can't explain the pain when I see a name on the wall. All I feel is rage, put me in a cage, let me brawl. Sometimes I can't help but cry, like why did he die? I know it was him, but it could have been I. What about the kids? What about the spouse? Yeah, now who gon' put food inside them babies' mouth? It's a bigger picture when the officer down. Domino effect, Blue Nation, family, country, and town. The media don't cover us. Well, maybe Fox, cause MSNBC and CNN surely don't care about cops. Politicians more concerned about protecting the legal instead of laying the law down and protecting the people. Let me get off my soapbox before I curse. I don't seen way too many cops riding in hearse. Well, I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
If I'm faced with a mission, I'm gonna complete it. If that means being deleted, I live with the credence. I do this for the combat vets and LEOs. When I'm suited, ready to go, it's either friend or foe. Only Lord knows what my future's in store. I only kill with the hope to see more, so God don't close that door. If I take a life, it's him or me, with the hopes to survive, not bigotry. I go in situations that you cannot imagine, deal with things that you cannot fathom. No ifs, buts, or rather, I'd rather fight for a cause than live for nothing. So when you read my headstone, you know I died for something. You hypersensitive shit complain by justified force. You blame the cops first, that don't work, you blame the courts. But I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.